And for those of you that don't know, he is the promoter of the Florida Pro and the Florida State Natural. How are you tonight?
Doing good, Sammy. Doing good. Doing excited.
This is this show. So I always tell people that don't know you by face, they probably know you by your logo. So that's one of the things I
uh,
wanted to talk about tonight was this buzz that you have created on social media.
well, I just a little bit of background. I was in the military for 12 years, but I did spend 20 years in the car business, in every single aspect from sales all the way up to running dealerships. So I learned branding and marketing from, in my
Oh,
opinion, one of the best people out there, David Moss. I worked for him for years,
okay. Okay.
and he's a branding genius. And that's kind of where I got my mojo, because if you don't have a why buy here, which in my case it's a why
Wait, is
do
is it
my
is it
show.
this? Is this like a David Moss thing?
It's the
That's it. See,
that's
I
the David Moss.
remember. I used to live
Yep,
in Central Florida.
yep, that's the
That's
David
funny.
Moss. I worked with him for 20 years and knew him
That's
for
great.
like 7 or 8 before that. But he knew how to brand and market, and I soaked everything that I could up from that. And I'm just trying to apply that from a business standpoint to my show.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's working. I know a lot of athletes have reached out to me asking about your show. They see it, they come across it on social media, whether that's Instagram or Facebook. And I have a lot of pros and a lot of amateurs that have been asking me about it. So I said, hey, well, why don't I just have you on the show and let's answer everyone's questions all in one shot.
Awesome. Absolutely. Looking
So
forward to it.
the main question I get is, Sam, like, this is a new show. Like, what are your thoughts? And
Um, yeah.
why don't you, well, it is a new show, but why don't you kind of get into what inspired you to even start promoting and not even just start promoting? I mean, you went straight to the Florida State Championships. Like, that's a big task
Well,
to take
go
on.
go big or go home. And I hear that a lot from other people out there in the industry. First time show, first time promoter,
Yeah.
which is a little bit of a misnomer. I have been promoting with my co-promoter, that's helping me out with this show on the
Okay.
sidelines.
Sure.
Uh, Rick Pierre, who's the Florida State Natural Chairman for the NGA. So
Okay.
I actually helped him promote three of his shows, and three of them actually happened to be at the venue that we're actually doing for the Florida Pro and the NGA Florida State Natural. So, in essence, is it a first time show? Yes. Is it the first time that I promoted a show at this venue? Absolutely not. So that was leading up to this show. That was one of
Okay.
my main things that I wanted to accomplish. I wanted to do three dry runs before I hopped on stage with the product. So that was my whole goal last year, is to make sure we had all the bugs worked out and all the whistles blown and all the bells rung, before we actually took a stab at it.
No, that's a big thing. You're right. Just to know the venue and be comfortable with it and know how it's going to run. It really tells you how the show is going to run. Makes things much more
Mm-hmm.
organized. Know what to expect. And you know what? I just want to throw this out there. Last year, Darrell was promoting an October show, co-promoting an October show. I called him last minute. I said, "Listen, I have this idea. I want to live stream. Don't really know what I'm doing, but I have this great setup and this
Hmm.
great idea." I was like, "So what do you think, Darrell? You all about it?" And just
I'm
to
like,
let
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
right, that's the you're a forward thinking promoter. Like, I kind of shot this idea. I told you I think it'll work. I think it'll be something great for the athletes. I think it'll be something great for the sponsors. And you were just like, yes, yes, yes. And I was like, really? And it ended
Well,
up being the start.
that's all, and we've talked back and forth a little bit from your end of it.
Yeah.
It's like, will it work? Will it won't work? Will it be? Well,
I,
the thing is, it's been working in other venues. It's been working with other, like, prime time 800-pound gorilla organizations. So why not bring that type of event? Why not bring that type of quality, that type of service to the natural events, that other events have.
You need
Why think small? Why not think big? And
right.
give the athletes and their families and the fans something to actually, to take part in with the
Right.
live stream.
Hey, and you know what? We killed it. It worked. Everything was
Yeah,
awesome. The
absolutely.
athletes loved it. But that just goes to show you I appreciated that. As you being a promoter, I appreciated that you were open to trying something new. And that says a lot for what you're doing with your show and where I think it's going to be where it's going
Thank
and
you.
where it's going to be going. And I think the athletes should appreciate that too. Um, that's huge. It's not
Yeah.
stuck in the same rut.
Well,
You're willing to step out of that.
if you're not evolving, you're not thinking outside the box, you're not trying to try new things, then you're just the same. You're just the same guy. You're just the same show. You're just the same thing over and over and over again. I don't want to be the same thing next year. I
Right.
don't want to be the same thing the year after that. So you have to constantly evolve.
So I do have one thing that I want to throw out there that I have loved that you've been doing on social media. Again, I don't really see anybody else doing this to the extent that you're doing it, and that are these athlete spotlights. I mean,
Yeah.
they are awesome. I know you're trickling them out as, trying to keep some momentum going. I mean, I don't even know how many you have in your back pocket, but I love these. I'm actually just going to run them on the screen so they can see what I'm talking about.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. No. No. Well,
It
and
just
here and
keeps
here's
coming.
here's the thing. I'm trying to drop two a day, and I have tons more in my back pocket. But believe me, I have tons more. And through the athlete spotlights, that's what the show and the event is all about. It's not about the promoter. It's not
Right.
about, what you look like on stage or what you dress like or what you say on social media. These events are about the athletes and they deserve the spotlight.
Right.
So I figured what better way than to when I have an athlete sign up, I say, hey, DM me a picture. Give me your best picture that you want to do for an athlete spotlight. I want to make sure I get you out there so that your friends and family know that you're there. So the audience knows that you're going to be there so they can come and buy a ticket. So nobody misses you with all the hard work that you put in. So it's just something more to promote the athletes, not necessarily my show. Yes, it is a shameless plug for the show, but it's
I
the
love it.
athletes. If it weren't for the athletes, there would be no show. And
So,
I've had so many out of state athletes, pros and amateurs, that have committed and have registered and are coming to my event. That, well, hang on, let me spotlight these guys. I've got people coming from Oregon, California, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, North Carolina, Texas. So, hey, if these people are spending all of that time and money and effort
yeah.
to come to my event, then I'm going to give them as much spotlight and as much praise and as many thanks as I can for choosing me in my event.
Yeah, for sure. So I have to ask you this. What has been the feedback that you're getting from the athletes with these athlete spotlights?
Oh, they love it. They love it. So 90% absolutely love it, and 10% are like, "You still want that picture?" And I'm like,
Uh,
"Yeah, I still want that picture. Absolutely, I still want that picture. I want to do a spotlight on you."
that's cool.
But no, they love it. Their
Allie.
friends and family love it. Yeah, Allie, which I got you today. I got your picture and it's coming out. I'm gonna probably drop that one tomorrow. But no, the athletes seem to really like it. I don't know of anybody or any other promoters that have really done a lot of that, especially in our genre of
Yeah.
the natural side of it. But that's where the spotlight needs to be. It needs to be on the athletes. So I'm just trying to spotlight them as much as possible.
Oh, that's awesome. So we do have some athletes watching. I want to say hi to Heaven. I want to say hi to Michael. Cliff, what's up, buddy? We have Toby Howard. I saw her in one of the athlete spotlights.
Absolutely. One of our Georgia athletes. We have
Yes.
quite a few athletes coming from Georgia.
We got Oregon watching here tonight. Thank you. It's a Pee Wee Sanders. I
Yeah,
have a
that's
feeling
my classic physique pro.
I'd
He's
say it's
gonna come in hot.
probably nothing Pee Wee about him.
If you look, he was on the athlete spotlight
Yes.
slideshow that you ran. Yeah, there's not much Pee Wee there. Yeah,
And
that's
then
Big Wee.
And then we have Stacy. Thank you for watching. And of course, Marisabel. She is one of my favorite bikini competitors that's going to be at your show. She's my favorite to win. So she's due
Yep,
for that pro card.
she is due for a pro card. She actually was my pick last year on the live stream. I was not judging. I was overridden by the judges.
Right. That's the beauty.
But
I'm not judging either.
that was my personal opinion. I was not judging, but I do want to give a shout out to her and tell her husband to sign up and stop being a baby. You're not waiting till 2022. I've still got my eye on you.
Oh man. Oh, wait, Cliff. See, I knew Cliff. He would be hooked. He said he's gonna see you at the next show. He did his first show a couple weeks ago, and we're like, he's in. That's it. This is like his new
Awesome.
thing. Yeah. But
And
anyway, so
more shameless promotion. Even my mug.
oh, I love that. So back to the show. What are the athletes going to expect the day of the show? Like, I've seen some images trickling out, maybe some awards, things of that nature. I know you've been holding out, but why don't you
I
tell us a little bit
Yes.
about? Let's see what I have
Well,
here.
my whole focus for this show, me and my wife Holly,
Mm-hmm.
both being masters professional athletes, my wife in bikini and an open pro bikini athlete, and me being a masters bodybuilding pro, was to try to make this a pro show and make it a show for the masters pros also to come to
Yeah.
where they could compete, use those pro cards to where they could actually earn a little bit of money without having to travel all over the country. I'm talking a little bit more, Florida specific,
Yeah.
but kind of more natural pro athlete specific as well. There's very few shows that focus in on being able to have the pro athletes on stage to showcase their pro cards and their talent and all the hard work, unless you're going to the universe or unless you're going to the Yorton or yes you're going to the Olympia. That's it, one show per year. So my one of my biggest goals for this show was to have a show for the pro athletes to showcase their talent. In addition to having the state championships, this is the only state championships in the state of Florida. It is the NGA Florida State Natural Championships. It's the only one in the state of Florida, and it's going to be Mr. and Miss Florida. So it's going to be exciting for the awards. Um, I'm waiting on my medals to come in, and let me tell you what, when those come in and I start dropping social on those, I don't think the athletes are going to be upset. I have a specific medal just for the pro athletes for their show. They have their own pro bags. They have their own pro T-shirts. Same with the Florida State Championships. They have their own specific medal. They have their own specific bags. They have their own specific shirts. So I'm trying to dual brand the show, the Florida Pro for all of the pro natural organization athletes that we've recognized out there across the country, and for the NGA Florida State Natural Championships, which also qualifies them for the universe as well for the winners. But we have swords, we have tiaras, we have crowns, we have let's say I'm going to say big ass checks because that's the actual company I got them from.
That's the
So
actual
I
name.
guess if it's the name of the company, I'm pretty sure I can say it on a live stream. Um, we've we've got robes for the bikini girls,
Wow,
the
robes. I
medals.
love that.
Yeah, we have custom robes for the
Let me
pro
see.
girls that win uh, for our pro open. She has a custom Florida Pro bikini robe for our pro and our masters girls that win. And for the Florida State Championships, our masters and our open pro also get a Florida State Championship custom bikini robe. So just some of the
Wow.
little smaller things that we're trying to do for the athletes, because
Yes.
that's the most important thing, stuff for the athletes.
Yeah, and we've all of us girls have been backstage and we see the other girls with like the custom robes and we're all like, "Oh man, I wish I had one."
He's like, yep, no,
Well,
yep.
now we know how to
So
get one. You have to win.
Absolutely, absolutely, and also going back to the awards, and I'll cut it off from the awards.
Yeah.
On the pro side,
Hmm.
right now I have four divisions, and I'm three athletes away from making my fifth pro division $1,000 winner take all.
Yeah.
All of the other divisions, I have Pro Masters Bikini and Pro Masters Bodybuilding is 500, and the remaining divisions are all 250. My goal is next year I want to have $1,000 for each division, all 11 pro divisions that are eligible and qualified to compete, to have big money to come and win at my
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, let's do
So
it.
I want to, yep, it's in with the amount of outpouring of so with the amount of support and the outpouring of love that I've been getting from across the country from pro athletes, I think next year we may even have to move this to a 2-day event, and I would love that.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be amazing. So the let's see what we have here. The okay, so we covered the awards and the masters. I love that there's masters pro classes. You know, myself being
Yes,
a masters pro as well as an open pro, I get that question a lot from athletes. Where can we compete, Sam? Where can we compete? There's another organization that has offers master pro divisions, but usually only in specific shows, and it's very there's just not a
yep.
lot of them. So I think this is a
Nope, there's
great
not.
opportunity for the masters to come out. Now, if they are a masters pro, can they cross over into the open as a pro? If they are, can they do that in
What
one
now?
show?
For, Now, if you with any recognized organizations pros from the NGA,
Mm-hmm.
you are allowed to compete in the Florida Pro.
Okay.
Now, the way that it works, if you have a pro card in any division, any class, you are allowed to cross over into another event. So if you have an open pro bodybuilding
Mm-hmm.
pro card,
Mm-hmm.
you actually happen to be a masters competitor also,
Mm-hmm.
you can cross over into the masters pro category.
Okay.
Same with if you happen to have two masters pro cards, one in classic physique and one in bodybuilding. Some competitors can pull that off because of the way that they pose themselves and change their bodies with specific poses in certain divisions. You can do pro bodybuilding and you can do pro classic physique. So no, absolutely. And same with bikini. If you're an open pro bikini and you happen to be a masters athlete also, absolutely.
Okay.
Take your little fanny over into the masters division and you can cross over to the masters pro event as well. So 100%, yes, you can cross over with my event.
Nice. So there's two opportunities to win some cash.
Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes.
All right.
Yes, yes,
Cool.
yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Now, you do have, another thing that makes the show amazing, right? Is the experience, the athlete experience.
Yes.
So, who do you have coming in to maybe take care of photos, to take care of tan, to take care of the athletes on that end of
We're
things?
one of the biggest things that I've tried to do when I before I even announced the show, I announced my website.
Right?
Um,
I'm gonna
because
head over there.
I think a lot of the websites for shows just happen to be ancillary products that just pop up 2 months before the show is open just to take your money. If you go to my show's website, floridastatenatural.com, it is a fully interactive website that has every piece of information that an athlete can possibly want.
It's
It's got
beautiful.
the order of events. Check-in is already listed. Order of events for prejudging, order of events for finals, your event services and hotel. So for your tanning, your pictures, your live stream, your tanning, your makeup, everything is on that at a point and click basis to make it as easy for the athletes as possible to get as much information and to make the services for our show as easy as possible to take advantage of. So that was one of my biggest things was my website. I wanted my website to be interactive. I wanted it to have all the information. I wanted it to be point and click. I wanted it to be the easiest possible avenue for the athletes to be able to take care of themselves because prep brain is real. And if you're
Yeah,
trying to
it
search
is.
around, if you're trying to search around and find something, sometimes in the small fine print, you don't really find it. I have an event photographer, and I also have a backstage
I
photographer.
see that. I love
Um,
that.
I I have Sammy, this Sammy person. She's doing my live stream, something or other. It should be
Right.
nice. I've heard good things about her. But you've got my tanning, my hair, my makeup, and my
Yeah, this is
polygraph.
beautiful.
Those are just point and click. Book, book, book. It books it right. It goes. My website goes straight to the Google calendars of the vendors. So when you book, you're not booking with me. It is linking straight to their Google Calendar, and you're booking with them. And I say to everyone, when you book, the phone number for each vendor is listed there. Please call to confirm with the vendor to make sure your appointment is confirmed and the time that you want. But I just want it to be point, click, easy for the athletes. I didn't want any thought process or any Easter egg hunting or where in the world is Carmen San Diego trying to find event services or um, where do I stay? Where do I eat? Where do I get my photos from? I wanted all that stuff to be out there as easily and as quickly as possible for them to find.
Yes. Yes. It is amazing, that website. You can tell you put a lot of time into it, and the athletes do appreciate that. I know from speaking from experience, um, and it saves you a lot of phone calls.
Well, and actually, I appreciate the phone calls. I want the phone calls. I want the emails. I want the DMs because I built the website. I service the website. I manage the website. That's mine. I built it. So if anything's wrong with it, DM me. I can fix it on the spot. And if you have any questions, I want to be able to, as quickly as possible, service the athletes. If they have a question, I don't want them waiting 3 or 4 days. Or if there's a problem with the website, let me call somebody. Maybe in a week it's fixed. That's not what I that was not my vision. I wanted to have full control to make sure that everything was exactly the way that I wanted it, good, bad, or indifferent, but the way that I
Absolutely.
wanted it, so that I had control over it. And if the athletes needed to have anything answered, I'm there to answer it right there on the spot as quickly as possible.
Well, I love it. Now, another thing that people sometimes aren't aware of is the NGA is a nonprofit organization. And one of the things that I love that you are doing with the proceeds from your show is you have a. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? About who you
Yes.
are going to be donating to?
And I'm actually really excited about this one because in my years through the car business, one of the amazing things that we did on a monthly basis is once a month we rotated into the Ronald McDonald House to actually cook for the families and the children that were staying at the Ronald McDonald House.
Yes.
So, so just these are families that if you're not aware how the Ronald McDonald House works or what the Ronald McDonald House is, this is somewhere where families can come and stay free of charge, eat free of charge. They stay there while their children and their loved ones are in the hospital, and they don't have to worry about anything. They can stay right by their sides, and they're never more than a few inches away. I was very passionate when we went to go down there once a month to cook for the families. So I called up the Ronald McDonald House and I said, "Hey, I would love to have a representative from the Ronald McDonald House be at my show. I'd like to present you a check from my show, just out of the kindness of my heart and from their hearts on what they do for everybody. This is just a small token of what I can give back to the Ronald McDonald House and to the families." We're actually raffling off a 50-inch HD TV during the finals, and all the proceeds additionally from that are going to the Ronald McDonald House also.
I love
So
it.
I would just like to say for anybody that's out there, for family members of athletes or competitors, if you may not necessarily want to come and take part in supporting the athletes, come and buy a ticket, come and support the Ronald McDonald House because it's an amazing charity. It's an amazing organization. So come out, open up your pockets, and throw some dollars toward the Ronald McDonald House. There's not too many better causes that are out there in Central Florida.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. I think you guys are doing a really good thing with that, Darrell. And again, I think everyone knows somebody who's been touched by the Ronald McDonald House.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
some
that's true.
So
Mhm.
people know, they know that charity. So it's close to a lot of
Nope.
people. Let's see, what else do we have?
Absolutely.
I mean, I am excited. Um, our paths have been crossing all year because you are out and about. You're almost at every show that I'm at, and you're meeting athletes and you're mingling. And I think they appreciate
Yes.
that. People are getting to know you and they feel your energy and they see your passion. And I think all of that is really important. And they see that you're out there pounding the pavement and,
Well,
um,
I'm almost thinking about dyeing my skin orange and putting a green leaf on my head because they're
so
it's like you're the orange guy, right? I'm like, that's me.
that's me.
So branding, marketing, that means it's working.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's not necessarily my face. As long as they know my brand, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, but I think it's great that you're just out there. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Absolutely.
and just shaking hands and meeting people. That's really what it's about. And that's the one thing I love about natural bodybuilding. It's really the people that you meet along the way. Everybody has a
Yes.
great story. And you guys know that's a huge thing with my live streaming isn't so much
Mhm.
about me talking about the quad sweep or the tight core or, I'm not up there really talking about physiques as much as I'm talking about and sharing the stories behind every athlete because
Yep.
that is truly what this
Yeah.
sport is all about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
And
agree. I agree 100%. And especially that's the main reason that when you asked me to do that little test live stream, now you mean there's going to be live commentary, which is something that I've always wanted.
yeah,
I would instead of just turning, and this is a pet peeve of mine, and you may be getting into this with one of your questions later on why I decided to do this. Instead of turning an iPhone sideways 500 feet away from the competitors on record with no audio, with no commentary, with no explanation, with nothing showcasing the athletes and letting it run for 7 hours. That's not what I'm about. That's not showcasing the athletes. That's not giving them their due credit. So when you came along, and I'm not just trying to sit here and
and no, no,
pump you full of hot
and
air,
no, not at all.
but
This was
that's
born.
important to me for my event, provide that service for friends and family, for people
Yeah,
all over the country, all over the world. When those athletes are there, they can see them because it is very expensive to travel,
yeah,
and
it
friends and
is
family may not be able to travel.
right.
So now they can take part in their athletes and their family members' journey and not miss their big chance on stage.
Absolutely. I'm happy to bring this to bodybuilding. And like you said, everything is born from necessity, right? And that was something that I saw that was missing and I love you guys if you watch any of my lives, everyone knows I'm really kind of nerdy into the audio video stuff and I've always have been. So this is kind of right up my alley and I enjoy
Yes,
it. And of
yes,
course,
and it shows.
yeah, and it's just another layer, right? Just to
Mhm.
add
It's
to
another. It's
the
an
athlete experience.
exactly what I say is why when if anybody ever asks me, which they do often, why would you want to? Why would I not use any tool available to me to better my experience for my athletes?
For
So
sure.
whatever tool that is available for me to put in my bag, I'm going to put that tool in my bag until that tool either breaks or it becomes obsolete. But
Yeah.
I will never not use a tool just because somebody says you shouldn't.
No, and I think this is going to continue to grow. I already see others kind of getting
Absolutely.
started and dipping their feet into it, and they'll get better and better as I did. I've actually been doing this for a few years, so I've had a lot of trial and error under my belt. So, and I'll have
Yes.
more. I will have more. That's what this is all
Yep.
about,
Always
learning.
growing.
So back to the show. I wanted to
Yes.
ask you. It's okay. So some people do the straight through format, and I believe yours is morning show prejudging, which I have to be honest, I kind of prefer that only because I feel like when you come back in the evening, it's like just feels like more of an event. It almost feels
I,
like two different events, and
exactly.
I like it's more
Exa-
grand and more
yes.
people are there and the judges are dressed up. So what
And
is
and
that?
that's my vision. That's
Okay.
my goal. Because well, not you yet, but I'm a little old. But I
Mm-hmm.
remember going back to like say the Night of Champions in New York, to where when you go to a show like that, it's like you're going out to Broadway. You're going to an event. You're going out for drinks and dinner. You're dressing up so people can see you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a show. So I prefer, especially for for a larger event, I prefer prejudging and a finals, because with the finals event, you're afforded more of an opportunity to do more for the athletes, more for the audience, to put a little bit more glam and glitz, out there. One small thing as an example, my format's a little bit different than other shows.
Mm-hmm.
For bikini model, pro and amateur, I'm putting them dead center of the show. So that's going to be a focal point of my show, are the bikini models to
Mm-hmm.
come out there. They're going to rock it right in the middle of my show. As soon as the pro bikini models are off stage, I'm going to have my check presentation for the Ronald McDonald House, and then go into amateur bikini model. So I
And this
want
is
an
like
event
the
in the
bikini
middle.
model, just so people know, this is a little bit more of like a exaggerated division. Sometimes they have like kind of wings or some type of
Think Vegas
dress.
showgirl in a bikini
Okay, right. So that's kind of
that
fun. Yeah.
incorporates the
The,
bikini, and
that
it's
gets the
they have
audience
their own
excited.
routines.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
I like
it's
that.
going to be a lot of fun as far as that goes, with
Mm-hmm.
that format that I have, and also during the beginning, but before the finals, um, I'm actually have all things being uh, out there. Uh, Almost 12-year combat Army veteran with the United States Army. So I have a huge soft spot and warm spot in my heart for our armed services. So I am actually having a color guard from the United States Army coming out in full dress blues to present the colors on stage, instead of having just a flag sitting there with a pre-recorded national anthem. I'm having someone come out and sing the national anthem as the U.S. Army Color Guard presents the colors
Really?
at the beginning of my show, and that is one of the highlights and high points for me. Is I was able to secure the United States Army Color Guard to come out and present the colors. So it's putting a little bit more pomp, a little bit more circumstance, making it an event, making it a show,
And that's something
making
that's
it
dear to
something that
you. Yeah.
absolutely. But I think the audience and the fans and the people in the live stream, that will translate.
Oh,
That
yeah.
will also translate over to, hey, this isn't just, okay, let's start the show, first athlete. No, no, no.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm going for. That's not what I'm going
I
for
want to
my
mic.
finals.
That gives me ideas already. Like I want to mic them up, and I want to be able to have some extra cameras on them. That'll be a lot of fun.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be awesome. I really can't wait for that.
All right, all right. So what other things do we have to cover? I think that's it. I mean, I'm just glad you're on here because I know the athletes had a
Yeah.
lot of questions and I mean, you have been really just like I said in my post, you've been just killing it on social media, with sending with information and just getting the athletes excited, and it's just and they're noticing and they're feeling it. I mean, I was out of the state. I was in Maryland and I had two pro athletes mention your show to me, and
That-
I'm like,
That's
"Really?
awesome.
That's awesome." Like it just lets me know like you're doing a good job and the athletes are responding
Oh,
to
well,
it.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate the outpouring of support that I've been getting from a lot of the pro athletes, from all of our recognized organizations across the
Now,
country.
I do want to talk about one order of business, and I'm
Yes.
putting you on the spot on this. But when an amateur athlete qualifies for their pro card at your show, which I
Yes.
imagine there will be several of them, the idea
Hmm.
is that we can funnel them into the organization's pro show or
Yes.
flagship pro show or something of that nature.
Yes.
Now, um, the here I see the NGA has no universe scheduled. So with that being said, I I mean there's many other pro shows that those athletes can compete at. I always think it's great to dip your foot into a pro show, after earning that pro card if you're ready. Some athletes like
Yes.
to take an extra year and continue to compete as an amateur or things of that nature. But I didn't know
Hmm.
if you knew anything about this, if they were going to be scheduling
Well,
something or if it was
yes. Where
indefinitely like
it last year was a little challenging for South Florida.
mm-hmm,
Um, South Florida is still a little more challenging than Central and North Florida,
right.
but I am fully confident
Mm-hmm,
that the universe will be going on this year. They're
mm-hmm,
just trying to pick a date.
Okay.
So and obviously for our show, just to get into something a little bit additional for our pro athletes,
Yes.
obviously if they win, they are qualified for the NGA universe.
They are.
For our pro card winners, they are qualified for the NGA universe. Now, here is a special kick, and this is for our recognized organizations that are out
Okay.
there. Now, for any other recognized organization, if you happen to come from, let's just say, the SNBF, the WNBF, the NPF, OCB, and you're competing as a pro in our show, which you
Okay.
can do.
Right.
Um, if you actually happen to win out over an NGA athlete and you win that pro class, I am buying you your year's membership for the NGA as being a winner of the Florida Pro, and you are automatically qualified to compete at the NGA universe.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
as an extra bonus, and right now I have quite a few of outside organizations that we
Okay.
recognize
Right, right.
pro athletes that are competing. If you are the best on stage that day, now I strongly encourage you to buy an annual membership for the NGA.
Mm-hmm.
But if you choose not to, there is only a $75 crossover fee for a pro organization crossover fee to compete in our show. But if you win, I'm buying your annual membership just for winning the Florida Pro, and you're automatically going to the NGA.
That's awesome. Now, hopefully we'll get that date sooner than later.
Yes, yes, we're all waiting on that so we can start preps.
Yes, but like I said,
Myself included.
if
Myself included,
people,
actually.
oh, okay, but if people do, there are other pro shows out there, so don't get frustrated. I know the
Yes, there.
Mister.
No, 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 no. Absolutely.
Yeah,
And I know
October is a good month.
there are other pro shows. October, even the Central Florida Fall Classic. We have pro divisions at that show. I know a lot of the shows make pros, and that's another reason that I decided to promote this show in this
Hmm.
fashion. I don't want to just create pros. I want to create pros and also have them have somewhere to go
Yeah, I think that's great. And like I said,
and
the Masters
compete.
divisions are huge.
Yes, especially with the Masters.
That's
I've
so
seen so many
wonderful.
pro Masters cards awarded. We're like the redheaded stepchildren of the
We're old.
pro organization. Being a redheaded stepchild myself, but no, that was big for me also to have somewhere for all the pro Masters athletes to have somewhere to come and win some money and have some fun.
Yes. Yes, yes. All right. So again, I think that we covered everything.
No,
I'm super glad that you came on tonight. I know it really helped with the athletes. Hold on, I just wanted to. Um, anything you want to add?
Actually, I thank everybody
Yeah.
for tuning in. If anybody had any questions, I mean, questions, comments, gripes, complaints, cheap shots, that's a military thing. Throw them out there before we sign off.
Let me double
But
check.
it's going to be a great event. It is June 5th, and it is a stay where you compete show.
Oh, good. That's
So
the other thing. It's the hotel
yes,
is right there.
it is at the Orlando Marriott Lake Mary. It's
I'm seeing
like
more of that,
hundreds of
which
feet.
is nice. Yeah.
Yes, it's hundreds of feet off of the highway. It's easy to find. The grand ballroom is an amazing experience. We have a pump up room. We have our own separate dressing rooms. We have a huge setup backstage for the athletes. We have every single thing there at their fingertips to be able to prepare and to get ready to go on stage. So being at a stay and compete, it's very simple. With another great thing that we're doing, I'm not starting my check-in at 5 o'clock or at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
My check-in starts at 12 noon on Friday.
Okay.
So if you are in early, if you're there, my polygraph tester is there at 12 noon. My
All right.
tanning starts at 12 noon. Check-in starts at 12 noon. So hopefully by that design, my vision is that there will not be long lines of
Right. The locals can at least
stinky, sweaty,
come.
prep bane drawn out. Exactly. Just
The
dying in the hallways trying to get their services before they put their feet up to go to bed.
Yeah, I
So I
think
wanted to
with
make
that
it very easy
time,
on the athletes.
the locals can come in, get it done, and then the people that are coming in later to check into the hotel, then it'll
Exactly.
be open up
Now,
for them.
I will say this: I have so many athletes coming from out of state that have never done the show before, or any show in Florida for that matter before. So some of them are going to be coming in on Thursday. So I wanted to make it easy for them also, that if they're coming in early, hey, if you want to pop up at 12:01 on Friday, check in, get your tan, get your polygraph, and go chill out until you hop on stage for the athletes meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning. You have that opportunity and you have that ability, instead of sticking around and waiting till like a 4 or 5 o'clock check in and sitting there with the huddled masses. So that was another thing that I'm trying to do for my show, is make it very easy to take advantage of the services, to take advantage of the check-in, to take advantage of what's available to them without having to stress themselves out, because competing is stressful enough as it is. They don't need the additional stress
Absolutely.
of trying to figure that out. Yeah, absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right. All right. Well, I again, I thank you for coming on, and I think this was fun. I thank everybody for watching. You guys, if you have any questions, last second here, go ahead and drop them. Michael said it's a great venue because yes, he was there last year, and
Yeah.
oh, and then we have our friend from the OCB. He said yes, stay where you compete is a huge difference.
Yes.
I
Yes.
agree.
I love that. Yep. Absolutely.
So yeah,
Well,
Michael, he just promoted his first show for the GBO this year, and he was a huge success as well. I think you saw I
Michael
had him
Gayton,
on your yes.
I think he's actually coming down to the show,
Oh,
if he's still doing that. He said we were going to touch base and say
I
hello to each other.
I bet if his
I don't
schedule
know
is
if that's still in his
open,
plans.
he would
Yep.
because he seems to love to be everywhere. So
Yes.
I would like to meet him in person. I had a lot of fun talking to him, and we've been staying in touch. So yes, you know what? And that's how this whole sport grows. It gets better. I love it.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can't be myopic in your thinking. You can't be backwards thinking. You have to be forward thinking. You have to be outside of the box. You have to be going forward. You can't be standing still, because if you're standing still, you're 100 miles an hour in reverse.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's my mantra. I have to be thinking of different ways to do things, to make things better, to make it an event. And that was the main reason that I got into promoting to begin with. My wife was in it for 3 years, and I kind of got into the judging side of it. Then I got, well, let's say, for lack of a better word, forced into competing for the first time in 27 years last year, which was amazing, because I was over 50, but I was
Oh
fortunate
wait,
enough
let
to
me
win my pro
see.
card.
Oh no, I don't have a
I
picture
was
of you
for
two. I
oh,
wanted to post it.
I, I was fortunate enough to win my pro card along with my wife last year, and I wanted to bring more to the natural events, because it should be more. It should be more than what is the norm. It should be more for the athletes. The
Well,
promoters
actually,
should be spending the money. They should be
well,
doing the extra effort.
that brings me into a really more of a serious question. So,
Yes.
over the last couple of years, have you noticed that with the increase, have you noticed like promoters in the area or within Central Florida and beyond maybe stepping up their game, or just in natural bodybuilding in general? Have you noticed the shows are getting better and better? It's not going to happen overnight, but I think slowly and
Yep.
slowly.
I yes. I will say this, and I'm not going to say this in a self-serving fashion, or to pound my own chest. I think I've rattled so many feathers and ruffled so many feathers with what I'm doing to promote my show, and how I'm promoting my show, and what I've done as far as my event, that it's actually making some of the other promoters get out of their comfort zones and do more in different ways than the norm, to make their shows better. And I'm not saying that's because of me. I'm not saying it's a byproduct. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But if somebody's not talking bad about you or talking about you, then you're not doing enough. So I'm perfectly fine about being talked about or mentioned, or like, why is he doing this, or why is he not doing that, or that, if that makes it better for the entire bodybuilding community in the natural industry, I am perfectly fine with being a catalyst for that. Um, I don't worry about what other people are doing. If I'm spending my time and effort worrying about what other promoters and other organizations are doing, I'm not spending enough time on my promotion and my athletes. So that's basically my whole outlook for this show is taking care of the athletes and making sure that I put on the best possible promotion that I possibly can. And going forward, next time, make sure that it's even better than the last event. And I see where you're scrolling by. I do have a special guest
I saw. I wasn't
that
sure
I'm
if we
bringing.
wanted to talk about him. So yeah, we
Yes,
have
that
John.
I'm actually bringing down, and I have a lot of background. I used to say that I'm a member of the USTA, USTA. It's not the United States Tennis Association. It's the USTA. I used to be a triathlete. I used to be in the military. I used to run cross country. I used to
So
be a
what was
national
this?
champion
How? Where does
powerlifter.
this tie in?
Okay, this USTA is when I was running Powerhouse Gym in Kissimmee, Florida. There was a little thing called the American Gladiators. Now, I
Oh.
was actually a full-time contender at the American Gladiator Arena and a part-time gladiator. I filled in for one of the shorter gladiators because I'm only 5'8" and some change. I'll lie and say 5'9". And that's where I happened to meet John Romano. And he's been one of my good friends for decades. He used to be the muscle chef for Twin Lab. Used to have the little apron, the funny hat, which I always bug him about. He was one of the original Twin Lab reps back in the day. He was the executive editor for Flex Magazine, Muscular Development Magazine. He is a bodybuilding historian. He knows every single thing about the sport, from soup to nuts, feet to top of the head, and
So what exactly is he gonna?
and
So he's gonna be doing a Q&A at
he's
prejudging.
I'm actually having him do a Q&A after prejudging. He's going to be on the mic a little bit during the live stream, doing some commentary, and we're having a meet and greet
I love it.
an hour before show start. And honestly, it's just a chance for to reconnect with one of my really good friends from back in the
Yeah.
day. But he happened to be the MC for the American Gladiators back in the
Okay.
day, which I have an amazingly embarrassing ponytail pic that I sent him just a few months ago that I found that I dug up that he loves. But I'm having him fly down with his wife, who is actually also an IFBB pro. I think she's physique. I'm flying them down to do the Queen. And essentially, he also has the Fitness, Fame, and Fortune podcast
Okay.
that's on YouTube, that's on basically any podcast service that you can find, and he does that with Rich Gaspari. So a lot of the Q&A that he's going to go over is, if you're in the industry and you're
I'm
doing this and
excited.
you maybe happen to be a personal trainer or a professional, how do you translate that into a dollar? And that's essentially what his podcast for Fitness, Fame, and Fortune does with him and Rich Gaspari,
Okay.
is going over the how to translate fitness into a monetary gain or a business, to where you can capitalize on what you do as a hobby or a
So where would
passion
people find
if
this?
you
Just
want to
on
make that a business.
it's a podcast, right? So they find that on
It's
like
on
Apple.
any channel,
Okay.
iTunes, it's on actually YouTube. It's Fitness, Fame, and Fortune with John Romano and Rich Gaspari.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's an amazing podcast. They have amazing guests, and it's all core built around how to actually put yourself to work from a business standpoint to capitalize on the fitness industry, not just get on stage and lose money with all the thousands of dollars you spend on training, on food, on supplements, on airfare, on suits, on the myriad of things that
Like,
you
we spend money.
spend money on. How can you? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, a little known fact: I actually made four of my wife's suits because I didn't want to spend the money. Yes, I
Hey,
I I crystalled her suits. Yes,
I
I
think
I
that's
have
how
that
Kitty
gene.
Bikini got started. Is
Hmm.
she same thing. Her husband was like, I think she started
Yep.
making her own suits and was like, wow, I'm actually really good at this, and she's amazing.
Yep.
Actually, just sent a client
Good
to her
for.
today.
Yep. She's way better than I am. So that is not a that is for Fitness, Fame, and
Again, born
Fortune.
out
That
of
is not a
necessity, right?
business that born out of necessity
Every
translates
time.
into a dollar to pay the bills.
So one thing
But
I
yeah,
do want to say really quick is I have this streaming to different platforms. So if you guys are not watching on my Sammy Joe page, you're watching on another platform, I do want to say hello and I want to thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch up on the comments when this ends. I've only been looking at the comments on my Sammy Joe page. But thank you guys so much for watching,
no,
and yeah, we appreciate
absolutely.
it.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah. Um
And just as a last note from me before we sign up, I
yeah.
just want to just say thank the athletes again, especially from the outpouring of out of state competitors, both pro and amateur, that have chosen my event. You will not be disappointed. You will not be sorry, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing my show and doing my event. Again, I've got my whole goal was, and this is a car business term, and it's a business term. I wanted pump ins. I didn't want my own demographic. I didn't want to be in my own PMA, primary market area. I want to get pump ins. If I can get the pump in athletes from other states, from other organizations to take part in my show, and I have the athletes that I already have captured in my primary market area, then I have a massive event that is going to be something to see. It's going to be a showcase of natural bodybuilding talent, and it's going to be something that the athletes will hopefully enjoy as much as I've enjoyed uh, trying to promote it and put it on. But I just wanted to thank all the athletes from across the country
Oh
that
yeah.
are choosing to come and do my show. And if you haven't chosen to come and do my show yet, um, what are you doing? What's up?
I
I
think
mean,
that's
let's
fun.
go
I think that's fun when you
7 weeks out.
have athletes from everywhere kind of coming to one area. I mean, we like to see new faces as competitors. We don't want to get on stage with the
Absolutely,
same people every show.
absolutely. You
And
don't want to compete against the same
no.
4 or 5 people over.
No.
Last part, talking about my
Yes.
judging panel.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about not talking about the same athletes, competing with them
Yeah.
over and over and over again. My judging panel, I have judges from 6 different natural organizations. So they are all NGA judging certified, but they are from 6 different natural organizations. So if you are a natural athlete, pro or amateur, and you are thinking, well, I might not want to do that show because I'm not going to be judged fairly or competitively because this isn't my organization, take that right out of your thought process, because that's specifically the reason that I assembled the judging panel that I have, is because I want the athletes to feel comfortable and confident that
Mm-hmm.
they are going to be judged fairly to the criteria, not to preference, not to organization,
That's
but
important.
to criteria, so that they come here and they have a good experience, and that they
So
want to come back because of the way that they were judged and treated.
So let me rephrase. So let me like rephrase this to make sure I understand it. So what you're saying is, on your
Yes,
judging panel, you have an array of judges from different organizations. So let's say I show up
yes.
there and I'm an OCB pro. I'm not sitting there in front of a panel of local NGA judges. So
Well,
you
now,
have it
okay,
mixed
I've
up
gotten
so that,
I've gotten my hand spanked because, okay, don't promote other organizations, blah
well,
blah
no,
blah blah
this is
blah.
just
But
you and I. This isn't
but no,
promoting.
I'm
This
going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and put this out there because, okay, listen, we recognize these other pro organizations. I'm not promoting them, but I'm not ignoring them.
no.
I I
Remember,
have
you're on
I have judge.
subculture, and subculture
Yeah,
is
I have
natural
judges.
bodybuilding.
Well,
There's
Sam,
only
you've
a
known me for a
small.
while. My filter is pretty much non-existent. So let me go unfiltered, Darrell. I have judges from the WNBF,
Hmm.
from the PNBA,
Hmm.
from the OCB, from the SNBF, from the NGA. So I mean, I have judges from as many organizations that I could assemble. I have seven judges plus a head judge.
Okay.
So on a 5 judge panel, if someone goes mad cow and doesn't know how to judge, or if somebody just decides to judge to their preference and not the criteria, that can sway placings 1 through 5, just
Right.
from one judge on a 5 judge panel. when you drop
Right.
the high and the low.
Right.
That's why I am having
Okay.
seven judges
No,
from
I think
multiple
that's good.
organizations and a head judge so that my athletes know that they're going to be judged fairly and to the criteria, not to preference
Right.
and not to organization.
Now, I do love that you're saying that, but you have to understand like 99% of the athletes that show up to a show have no idea what's going on with the judging panel. They don't know how many judges are going to be there, or they don't
No,
even
no,
know,
but your
or
no,
they
but your
don't know.
professional athletes do.
Yeah,
Your
they do.
professional athletes do.
Yeah.
They do 100%, and that is a big thing with professional athletes. They
That's
want to
true.
make sure that they spent all the time and the money in, and they're not going to go
They're
somewhere and
judged
be judged
fairly.
unfairly or
Absolutely.
incorrectly.
No, you were right. You
So
were
so
right.
it is more for my pro athletes coming from across the country
Hmm.
than for the amateurs. Once you get to that pro level and you get more into the minutia
Right. I
of
was
the
going to
inner
agree with you. You
workings
just
of your
didn't let me
organization.
finish.
Oh, no, 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 no. I'm sorry. You,
It's
you know I
okay.
talk over you all the time,
It's okay.
even on the phone when we talk.
It's
So
okay. I just
I
don't want you to
I
think
do
I
this to
was.
myself all the time. I'm going to put myself in the corner.
No, but I do think that
No,
is so. But the point I was trying to make is I do think that's wonderful that you're sharing that because like I said, most of the time that's not something that would even be known or you don't know until you're there and the show is over and you realize only three
no.
whatever. So no, that's great
Hmm.
and we'll see. Let's keep this ball rolling and hopefully
Yes.
like those registrations keep coming in and the show keeps growing because for me it's way more fun to do a live stream with more of you on stage. So selfishly I'm hoping it's a big show because I get to have more fun, I have more to talk about. And with John Romano coming on, I might as well just give him the mic. Like I'm just gonna be like, here you go.
Don't do that because you'll
No.
never get it back. I know, John. You'll never get the mic back,
but
but
I
he,
will
he, he is awesome.
But I will say one of the things that I do love to incorporate into my live streams is having people jump on the mic. Like I know at my show next weekend, I'm going to be doing majority of the live commentary, but like I said, I'm kind of the 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 storyteller. Like I want to tell the
Well,
stories. I want you guys to know the
uh,
athletes after you're done watching the live stream. So if I can get somebody to jump on that's more of like the bad cop, that's kind of talking
I,
more shop, then it's a perfect balance.
well, again, I'm going to shamelessly plug you in addition because of something that you do for me as a
Oh,
promoter.
okay.
What you
Uh-oh.
do is, oh, no, on the live stream, you take my sponsors and my
Yes.
vendors, and you
Yes.
do sponsor and vendor spotlights on the live stream
I do.
with their brand, with their logo, and you do interviews.
Yes.
That's important from a sponsor and a vendor standpoint because if they're spending money to sponsor your event, they want to see a return in marketing and advertising and in spotlight.
Yes.
So that I do thank you, and that's a huge reason that another huge reason that I have you at my show is to spotlight and promote my sponsors and my vendors
Yes.
because without them there is no show.
Right.
Just like
No.
without the athletes there's no show, but on a show of this level, if you do not have your sponsors and your athletes, I mean, your sponsors out there spotlighted, then it's very hard to put on a show of this level and of this quality without having those sponsors.
I
And with
agree.
you doing those sponsorships and those highlights and those spotlights, that is huge for me as a promoter to
Exactly.
have that.
And I do contribute a lot of what I'm doing coming from promoting. I know as a promoter that was always something I wanted to do was make sure that I was giving back to the businesses that were sponsoring
Yep,
me. And this
absolutely.
when I incorporated the live streaming, I thought this is huge. This is something so gold that that promoters can offer their sponsors to be part of and they really are. They're getting excited about it. So
Uh, uh,
I
uh,
love when an idea like works and you're getting excited about it, but you see it. You see it
oh,
from that
I love
side.
it.
Some of the
I
promoters,
see it from
I
that
kind of
side.
have to really sell them on that idea. And I'm like, no, I'm like, this is good. It's like a commercial, right? It's like I'm
Yep,
able to create a,
standing still is going backwards. I want to be forward thinking,
yeah.
and that's where I'm at right now. I'm sitting at over 25 professional athletes from across the country, and I'm projecting somewhere close to around 40
It,
professional
you
athletes.
know, you,
Now, from a natural show standpoint, your normal natural show is somewhere around the 30 to 50 athlete.
yeah,
Not saying anything bad, but that's your
no,
normal. athlete list.
Yeah.
I'm projecting right at around 40 athletes from across the country in Florida, professionals on my
That would be
stage,
awesome.
which
That will be
which I
awesome.
love,
Yeah, but at the
which
end
I
of the
love, and
day,
I'm very excited about that.
Whatever the numbers are, I know it's going to be a really high quality show, and I think everyone's going to
Yes,
have a good time, and everyone's going to walk away with new friends, and that's really what it's all about. And some
absolutely.
hardware that you have a lot. I mean, you have a lot of hardware that you need to get rid
Oh,
of because I can't imagine where you're
oh,
storing all this stuff.
oh! I could spin the camera and
No,
show
we don't want to
you.
see it.
And my no no my wife Holly, she is so ready for June 6th. You have no idea. I have actually taken over the garage and my house with every and another small thing because I know you're getting ready to go. Another thing that I'm trying to do for my event also is I'm actually having show merchandise.
Okay, actually, let me see. Do you
So
have any of that up on your website?
I don't have any of the show merchandise listed on the website
Okay.
yet, but I actually have. Everybody always comes up. Do you have any show merchandise? Do you have any extra T-shirts? Do you have any of this? Do you have any of that?
Right, of
I'm going to
course.
be for my show. I've got shirts, tanks, women's this, cups, mugs,
Oh, fun.
bags, mouse pads. I mean, I just want to be able to promote the show because logo is promoting as many times as you can get your logo and your brand out there in somebody's hand in some way, shape, form, or fashion, the better. So I want to have stuff out there for the athletes and their families, not just a show T-shirt. There's actually going to be show merchandise in addition to a lot of the amazing vendors that I have coming from across the country. I
Yeah.
actually have a Natural Bodybuilding Barbell Club coming from
Okay.
San Diego.
What? That's
He's
awesome.
coming from San Diego with his product line. So it's going to be a great venue. It's going to be a great expo. It's going to be a lot of great vendors out there for the athletes and their families and the audience. So I'm just at the end of the day, I'm excited. Can't wait till June 5th.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And I know a lot of athletes are excited. So, and
I
until
hope
then, you
so.
guys train hard. And for any shows that you do between now and then, good
Yes,
luck. And hopefully, some of you will even get pro cards between now and then, and you can tr- try it out on the pro stage, see where you fall. So,
absolutely,
but yeah,
absolutely.
I know that I'm going to a show in Alabama, and then I'm going to be over in Naples. I think you'll be in Naples, so I'm looking forward to meeting some
I
new
will I
athletes
will be
between now and
there.
then.
I will be there too.
Yeah.
And I will basically spreading myself as thin as rice paper over the next 2 months because I like going to shows. I like meeting the
It's so much
athletes.
fun.
If you do my show, thank you. If you don't do my show, thank you. I just want to meet the athletes. I want to be a part of the natural bodybuilding community, no matter what show that it is. Yes, I'm going to promote my brand. I'm going to promote my show, but I also just like meeting the athletes. I like going and
Absolutely.
seeing what to other events to see. Maybe do I want to do that? No, maybe I don't. Maybe I definitely don't want to do that. Definitely want to do that. So it's good to go and see other shows and go to other events and meet athletes and get their feedback and see what they like, what they don't like. And then
Yeah.
that's what I incorporate.
Yeah,
That's what I incorporate because it's all about the athletes.
for sure. Yeah. I love it.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, I hope everyone has a wonderful night, and we're going to sign off. Thank you for watching. Bye. Thank you,
Thank you guys.
Darrell.
Thank you, Sammy.